Indian rupee logged its worst day in over a month, depreciating by 38 paise to close at 87.33 against the US dollar on Monday on the back of volatile crude oil prices and tariff uncertainties worldwide. Market regulator SEBI tightens the rules on SME IPOs. SEBI to enforce a stringent regulatory framework for SME IPOs by implementing a profitability criteria and imposing a 20% cap on offer for sale. And cyber frauds continue to drain Indian consumers of their money, with individuals losing as much as 107 crore rupees to internet, card and digital payments fraud in the first 9 months of the current fiscal year. According to official data, 13,384 fraud cases, each involving 1 lakh rupees or more, were reported in this period. GST authority detects tax evasion of 1.95 lakh crore rupees in 25,397 cases between April and January of the current fiscal year. According to data shared in Lok Sabha, the total number of GST evasion cases detected by central government in the last 5 years was 86,000, with a cumulative value of 6.79 lakh crore rupees. Maharashtra government proposes a 6% tax on electric vehicles priced more than 30 lakh rupees in the budget for fiscal year 25-26. Also introduces a 1% hike in motor vehicle tax on CNG and LPG vehicles. The artificial intelligence sector could face a shortfall of over 1 million skilled workforce by 2027. A report highlights the urgent need for India to reskill and upskill its workforce to meet the growing demand for AI expertise. India's tourism industry witnessed a staggering 124% rise in foreign tourists' arrival in 2023, reaching 1.92 crore visitors, according to Tourist Minister in the Lok Sabha yesterday. The impressive growth marks a significant jump from 85 lakh visitors in 2022. And income tax officials clarified that the new income tax bill prescribes the existing process for tax authorities to gain access to digital space or computer device only during search and survey operations. The power for such coercive action already existed in the 1961 Act, and those have only been reiterated in the income tax bill of 2025. Air India flight en route to Delhi from Chicago on 5th of March forced to return to the US city after majority of the 12 toilets on board were clogged. Airline confirms. Air India says polythene bags, rags and clothes were flushed down the toilets, issuing an appeal to use the toilets judiciously on air. And those are the top stories we're tracking here on Morning Brief at 9. First up, the Indian rupee took a sharp hit on Monday, marking its steepest fall in over a month. The rupee depreciated by 38 paise, closing at 87.33 against the US dollar, and was dragged down by volatile crude oil prices, global tariff uncertainties, as well as a continued foreign fund outflow from India. Now, forex traders say that even a weaker American rupee was not enough to support the Indian rupee, and a sell-off in the domestic equity markets further weakened confidence. The rupee opened weak yesterday at 87.24 and saw high volatility throughout the day, touching an intraday low of 87.36 before settling at its closing level. The last time the rupee saw such a steep single-day decline was on 5th of February, which is last month, when it fell by as much as 39 paise in a single day. On the other side, Friday had been a positive session, with the rupee appreciating 17 paise to close at 86.95. Meanwhile, the dollar index, which measures the greenback's strength against a basket of 6 major currencies, was also down 0.15% at 103.65. So even as dollar was down, Indian rupee continued to depreciate yesterday. And digital frauds is on rise on individual level, as many people have now lost a staggering amount, as much as 107 crore rupees to digital payments fraud in the current fiscal year as of December last year. Now, this is a significant increase from the previous year, where the loss was about 177 crore rupees. So 177 crore throughout the year. But so far this year, up until December, Indians have already lost as much as 107 crore rupees. A total of 13,384 cases of digital payments fraud were reported between April and December last year, involving losses up to 1 lakh rupees and above. In comparison, only 6,699 cases were in fact reported throughout 22-23, with losses totaling about 69.69 crore rupees. The government has acknowledged the rising incidence of digital payments fraud, with Minister of State for Finance Pankaj Chaudhary stating that the government is taking various initiatives to spread awareness about cyber crimes individually as well as on a societal level. And moving on, in a new development, income tax officials have now clarified on the accessibility of social media accounts of individuals during survey operations and not otherwise. According to senior IT officials, the department's access to social media accounts of you and me is only limited to specific situations, such as during seizure operation or during survey operations, and not during daily operations. The officials emphasize that the IT department does not randomly access social media accounts of individuals in any case scenario. In fact, this clarification comes amid concerns over data privacy and the government's access to personal information. The IT department has assured that it follows strict guidelines and protocols when trying to access someone's social media account, and that such cases are only done for legitimate purposes only. The officials also stated that IT department's actions are governed by the Income Tax Act of 1961 and that it is committed to protecting privacy of individuals. In fact, the coercive action was a part of the Income Tax Act of 1961 and it was reiterated in the Income Tax Act of 2025. Therefore, the provisions to access digital spaces is a new addition. However, the provision to access and take coercive action have already been a part of the existing act up until now, as per Income Tax Act of 1961. And shifting focus now, Air India is facing criticism after one of its flights was forced to turn back due to rather unusual reason, which is clogged toilets. According to reports, the Air India flight from New York to Delhi had to return to the JFK airport after passengers complained about overflowing toilets. The flight, which was carrying about 300 passengers, was mid-air when the issue was reported. The incident sparked widespread criticism, with many taking to social media to express their disappointment and frustration. In fact, the flight that we are talking about took off on 5th of March. There was another incident reported yesterday, but the incident where clarification has come in from Air India pertains to a flight on 5th of March where the flight was taking off to India from Chicago. It had to be brought back to the US after passengers started complaining of toilets overflowing. In fact, it was reported that out of the 11 toilets present on the aircraft, 10 were clogged. Passengers on board spoke about the poor condition and lack of maintenance. Air India has since apologized and it has also issued an advisory asking people to use toilets judiciously. The incident has of course raised concerns about maintenance and upkeep of aircraft and the need for airlines to prioritize passenger comfort and safety. But in a rare case scenario, Air India also meanwhile apologizing as well as asking all the users to use toilets effectively. And moving on, Microsoft held a groundbreaking ceremony for its proposed India Development Center campus in Noida on 7th of March. UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath was the chief guest for the event and he tried to reinforce the strong collaboration between Microsoft and the government of UP in advancing AI technology in the country. My colleague Amit Ranjan Kumar spoke to Microsoft India Development Center's MD, President Rajiv Kumar. Listen in to what he had to say.
We are at the newly inaugurated Microsoft India Development Center at Sector 145 Noida. It was inaugurated by none other than the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Yogi Adityanath. Who we have with us today is the Managing Director and President of Microsoft IDC, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. Welcome to News 9, sir. My first question to you is, how does the Noida IDC campus of Microsoft augur with Microsoft's plan of making India AI first?
Very good question. First of all, I'll start by saying Microsoft India Development Center in India is the second largest R&D center, development center for Microsoft after USA. Second, we are very committed to the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and our Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh Yogi Adityanath ji, their vision to make India a AI first organization or country. This center will contribute towards that vision because we have thousands of engineers working on AI and cloud in this development center, and that will work hand in hand with the government of the country and the state to take India forward on artificial intelligence journey.
India forward on artificial intelligence journey in the world. Microsoft, sir, has already made a lot of investments in India. What are the future long-term commitments of Microsoft towards making India AI first again?
Yeah, very good question. I would say I'll start by the commitment of our CEO Satya. When he came here, he committed $3 billion in 2 years, 2025, 2026, only for AI and cloud. As part of that vision, we are working with the state government, with the central government to do AI skilling for both the employees of the government and the young youth of this country. We are also collaborating with the universities to help build the right AI curriculum. Last, I will say, we hire the best engineers, best brain of this country who wants to work on AI, and Noida Development Center will be one of the hubs that will really trigger that, accelerate the journey on AI.
So the best minds, and India has and produces every year a huge pool of tech professionals. Does Microsoft look towards India as making it an incubation hub for AI research and development because it's growing at a very fast pace in the times to come?
No. One of the reasons I came back to this country 20 years back is because of the talent. We hire the best of the best and give them a world-class experience to do innovation. That's what we do. We innovate products that is used by billions of people across the planet, whether they are information workers or consumers. So I feel proud that our engineers from this country can have impact at the planet scale. Working with engineering teams across the world. So we collaborate across the world and we build for the planet.
So you've had a long career with Microsoft. What are the technologies that you are working on today and enjoy working on most in the AI space?
Yeah. Many people ask me that how can you be so excited after 33 years of working in Microsoft? But I have to tell you, I just get up in the morning and I'm energized because this new technology, artificial intelligence, is transformative. And in that, generative AI is profound. It will impact every aspect of our life, every aspect. And the way generative AI is taking shape is through agents. Now imagine, we have agents that will teach my daughter, my son. I'll have an agent, set of agents that if I say I want to take a trip, they will. One of the agents will book my flight ticket, one will do the hotel booking, one will do the car booking. They will talk to each other and come back with a beautiful itinerary. That's the world we are stepping into in this new generative AI world, which will be agentic.
Thank you, sir. The world of Gen AI agents is not too far in India. Research and development of AI in India is in good hands. We had with us Mr. Rajiv Kumar, Managing Director and President of Microsoft IDC. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with News 9. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Time for a short break now. We'll be back with more news and stories on the other side. You're watching Morning Brief at 9.
और आप एक जैसे ही तो हैं। एक बार मंजिल दिख जाए
One shot of a century.
तो उसे पाने के लिए हम अपने कदमों को नहीं रोकते।
That looks out.
पर कभी कभी मेहनत और मंजिल के बीच रह जाता है एक फासला। खैर, मुझे उस फासले को मिटाने के लिए थोड़ी और मेहनत लगेगी, पर शुक्र है आपके पास है टाटा कैपिटल, जो मिटाए फासले आपकी मेहनत और मंजिल के बीच। टाटा कैपिटल, मिटाए फासले।
I know that you and I, we are dreamers. Our heads up in the sky, we're flying free. Whatever it takes, we're gonna own this.
For an India that's chasing its dreams, this is the drive of your dreams. Introducing the all-new Skoda Kailak. Own your dream.
What does it take to be the greatest in the world? There is one thing which truly sets you apart. Your inner strength. Sodium TMT Reebok. True inner strength.
We have close to 600 million out of the 1.4 billion in our country who are under the age of 25, and 65% of our population is under 35.
We all know that if you have a choice of pilot at Air India, and one has read the book, the other one has saw the TikTok movie, and the third one has went through a simulator wins, right?
The employable youth is only increasing. We are one of the youngest nations in terms of skilled talent.
There is a mismatch in cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad.
How do you impart a pedagogy where students are just not sleeping inside the class, which is typically the case in the best of business schools as well as undergrad colleges in India? Because a lot of what is being taught in the classes, students don't find that applicable in the real world.
I find it extremely difficult to hire people because you don't get right skills.
This and more streaming on News 9 Plus. Download now.
What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every seam, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Brief at 9. I'm Shweta Kothari. Country's AI sector could face a shortfall of over a million skilled professionals by 2027. This as per a new report by Bain & Company. The report highlighted the urgent need for India to reskill and upskill its workforce to meet the growing demand for AI expertise. Now, India's artificial intelligence industry is set for a significant growth with a projected 2 to 3 million job openings by 2027, according to the report. And it also highlights the rapid expansion of India's AI ecosystem, driven by increasingly AI being adopted across industries, including healthcare, finance and technology. As a result, the demand for skilled AI professionals is also expected to increase, creating more and more opportunities for the job seekers. The report also notes that India has a potential to become a global leader in AI with its large talent pool, growing startup ecosystem and increased government spending. However, it also stated that the need of the investment and the need of the hour is in fact investment for AI in education and training programs to develop the necessary skills for AI workforce. As the AI sector continues to grow, it is expected to have a strong impact on India's economy going forward. So AI jobs are likely to multiply going forward. In fact, one of the problems and the loopholes that the report points out is that despite a surge in demand and attractive salaries in fact growing by 11% year on year, and AI-related jobs also exploding by 21% annually. The report says that there is a dearth of qualified AI professionals as qualifications have not kept pace, creating a wide talent gap that risks slowing down AI's adoption across industries. And let's now move on to take a look at how markets have opened this morning. There you have it. Market mood check on your screens, opening in deep red yet again. Nifty, Sensex, mid cap, small cap, all reflecting the global headwinds that have come to fore in the past couple of hours. In fact, reflecting the US market sentiments as well. Nifty down nearly 0.5% at 22,331 mark. Sensex also down 0.4% at 73,806 mark, just holding above that 73,800 crucial level. Mid cap is down 1% again at 47,939 mark. Small cap down 1.5% at 14,969 mark. And India VIX, the volatility index, is up 3.14% at 14.43. Well, that's the markets as far as this morning is concerned. Let's quickly also take a look at how sectors are reacting. So it's a mixed bag here. On the heat map, as far as financial sector is concerned, mostly in the red, with HDFC, ICICI Bank opening flattish this morning. SBI, Bajaj Finance in the deep red. Technology and IT companies also reflecting a mixed sentiment. TCS in negative at minus 0.64%. Infosys opening 1% higher. We'll try and understand the reason for that. HCL Tech also down 0.5%. Similar sentiment reflected in the consumer non-durable market with all right, so there's a change here now in the past couple of seconds. Mostly all sectors in negative this morning, with consumer durables, Hindustan Unilever, ITC all in deep red. Utilities sector in red, energy mineral sector in red, consumer durables in red, and auto sector also in deep red as of this morning. So there you have it. It's a sea of red in markets this morning. Markets usually reflecting the sentiment as of this morning, a negative sentiment that has clouded the US markets as well. We will of course keep bringing you all those details throughout the day today. And what really affected the US markets, which snapped as much as 4%, the Dow Jones snapped as much as 4% yesterday in the session, but although that data of course and all those details will come to you very, very shortly. Let's move on for now. The Maharashtra government has proposed a significant tax hike on luxury electric vehicles, in fact all other electric vehicles as well, in its budget for fiscal year 25-26. According to the proposal, electric vehicles which are priced above 30 lakh rupees will attract a 6% tax. Additionally, the government has also announced a 1% hike in motor vehicle tax on both CNG vehicles and LPG vehicles. The government has also proposed a 7% tax on vehicles which are used for construction. So vehicles there overall and across segments being taxed more now come 1st of April 2025. Now all of this is of course expected to generate additional revenue for Maharashtra government to the tune of about 180 crore rupees as far as the tax on construction vehicles is concerned. Further, a 7% tax on light goods vehicle will also earn the state about 625 crore rupees. All in all, the Maharashtra government is hoping to earn at least 900 crore rupees and above as a result of increased taxation on vehicles. The government has also increased the maximum limit of motor vehicle tax from 20 lakh rupees to 30 lakh rupees, which is expected to generate a revenue of 170 crore rupees. These taxes are expected to generate significant advantage and revenues for the state, with the government estimating, as I mentioned earlier, a total revenue generation of over 900 crore rupees. And by the virtue of a tax hike in EVs, additional 150 crore rupees from the EV segment alone. What does it really mean for the Maharashtra government, but more importantly for people who are hoping to buy EVs? Let's discuss that. Joining us on the show is Gaurav Vangal, Associate Director, Light Vehicle Production, Forecasting, S&P Global. Gaurav, thank you very much for taking time out. I want to begin by asking you the rationale behind hiking that tax. While the government, of course, hoping to generate more revenues, it is going to take a beating on people's pockets, especially those who were hoping to buy an electric vehicle going forward, which was priced 30 lakh rupees and above.
See, electric vehicle, I think any government earlier has promoted the electric vehicles with the addition of these new taxes, I think 6%. Yes, there will be some sentiment dent. But I think the buyer at the above 30 lakh can consume this. That's not a problem. But we have a worry that 1% which has been put at the CNGs, that is a point of concern, because that will going to impact the common man's budget, and if they're going to buy and they're going to run on the CNG, I think that is more important, because it can impact the affordability, and this is not a great trend. Worry is not that they have put the tax on us. The worry is that this is not a great tax trend, because every government can start following it. Every government start raising the taxes on the cars, which is not going to help Indian economy and Indian auto sector.
All right. Clearly not a welcome move, especially when it comes at a time when the government is also hoping to meet some of its own EV targets. 30% by 2030, that's the target. We're just over 10%, just about touching that 10% mark, not very far away from 2030 right now. This seems to be a counterproductive move at such a time, Gaurav.
See, again, I think what we are forecasting as per the research of S&P Global Mobility, we are forecasting approximately 19% penetration level by 2030. And I believe that it is well done if we do even the 19%, because these kind of regulation bumps which comes around with the higher taxation, they're definitely going to impact the faster adoption towards EVs.
All right, so 19% by 2030, way short of the 30% target by 2030. Which are the segments in which you're looking at most EV penetration, barring two-wheelers, of course?
Unfortunately, we can't speak about two-wheelers, because S&P Global Mobility does not cover the two-wheelers. So we just caters the light vehicles and the MSCV, and I think in light vehicles we are talking about 19%. And in the segment within the light vehicles, I think it is a B segment SUVs what we are looking for, that they're going to do well, and that is why you see a lot of action happening at the B segment SUVs from Maruti Suzuki, which is going to launch e-Vitara this year. We have also seen Nexon EVs. We have also seen Curve. Now this year maybe we'll also see the Tata Sierra coming into the Indian market.
How significant is this policy bump? Because clearly not all people are buying vehicles, EVs, which cost 30 lakh rupees and above. How many people are actually ending up buying EVs that cost 30 lakh rupees and above? Because these are luxury premium EVs. In your assessment, what sort of bump will such a policy move have, and what could be the after effect of it?
So, see, the overall Maharashtra sales from 2024, as per the Vahan, it was only 500,000 cars throughout the year in 2024, and I think out of which I don't see there will be a much bump, because the market is very niche into the over 30 lakh rupees EV side. So we don't want to speculate anything, but yes, there can be slight hurt for the transformation speed, but not the major bump expected from the numbers in terms of numbers.
All right, no major bump expected as far as numbers is concerned, but let's also talk about overall hike in taxes for not just EVs but also CNG and LNG vehicles. That is also likely to shore up some revenue for the Maharashtra government. However, what sort of impact will it have on people who are looking to move to alternate fuel in this case? These are not ICE engines alone, and if the government is hoping to move away from ICE engines, I believe taxing alternate fuel vehicles is not a very good policy move.
Actually, this is a surprise because CNG has always been seen as an alternative to the other fuels, and if any other fuel is not working, CNG is expected to go further. And I think that last year only, the CNG has overtaken the diesel or just part of the diesel volume. So I believe that this is going to impact the common people. CNG is a common people fuel, and I think this is going to impact the affordability. But again, we can see the pre-buy in Maharashtra because now 20 days are left in March. We can see some of the pre-buys happening at the Maharashtrian state, but not I would say that it is because the market is not so big, even though it's the biggest in the in a country for a state. But yes, overall it's not big to have an impact.
All right. Well, may not have any big enough impact, but also sets a precedent in state policy and for various other governments to also follow suit, and that could not be good as far as EV adoption and adoption of alternate fuel is concerned. Gaurav, thank you very much for putting this in perspective for our audience this morning.
Thank you very much.
And let's take a look at global stories we are tracking this morning. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky meets Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Jeddah ahead of high-stakes US talks as Donald Trump expresses optimism about progress in the Ukraine peace efforts. Elon Musk claims X faced a massive cyber attack as global outages disrupt access to thousands of users in the US and the UK. Tesla's market value plunges by 45% from record highs as investors question Elon Musk's political ties and ambitious robo-taxi promises. White House dismisses recession fear as economists warn trade uncertainty and inflation could slow down US's growth. Wall Street plunges as recession fears mount. Tesla sinks 15% amid tariff uncertainty and tech sell-off. EU trade chief warns of slow negotiations as US prepares to impose sweeping steel and aluminium tariffs, escalating fears of a major trade conflict. Canada's Prime Minister designate Mark Carney meets Justin Trudeau after landslide victory, vows swift transition as Donald Trump threatens new tariffs on Canada. US automaker Ford injects $4.76 billion into struggling German operations to revamp European business, streamline cost and push for clearer EV policies amid rising competition and tariff concerns. Mass travel chaos as German airport workers stage 24-hour strike, grounding thousands of flights and stranding over 500,000 passengers in the nationwide pay dispute. All those stories and more after this very short break.
मैं और आप एक जैसे ही तो हैं। एक बार मंजिल दिख जाए
One shot of a century.
तो उसे पाने के लिए हम अपने कदमों को नहीं रोकते।
That looks out.
पर कभी कभी मेहनत और मंजिल के बीच रह जाता है एक फासला। खैर, मुझे उस फासले को मिटाने के लिए थोड़ी और मेहनत लगेगी, पर शुक्र है आपके पास है टाटा कैपिटल, जो मिटाए फासले आपकी मेहनत और मंजिल के बीच। टाटा कैपिटल, मिटाए फासले।
What does it take to be the greatest in the world? There is one thing which truly sets you apart. Your inner strength. Sodium DMT Reebok, true inner strength.
I know that you and I, we are dreamers. Our heads up in the sky, we're flying free. Whatever it takes, we're gonna own this.
For an India that's chasing its dreams, this is the drive of your dreams. Introducing the all-new Skoda Kailak. Own your dream.
Skoda.
Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers. The Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas.
It's not the fiefdom of politicians. They owe it to the people. Matter is now more about faith of the millions of devotees than just political slugfest. Does that mean that I can't get a job in Chennai, although I may be best suited for that particular job? They have more civic sense, they have more of civility than all these men. My name is Sudha Sadanand. Welcome to the South Indian.
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News 9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News 9's pick of the week. Don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News 9's pastry is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Brief at 9. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky touched down in Saudi Arabia on Monday to have conversations with Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, just a day before crucial discussions with the US officials that Washington hopes will push forward the efforts to end the war with Russia. In Jeddah, Zelensky sought to mend ties with the US and secure conditions for a lasting peace. He described his meeting with the Crown Prince as a detailed discussion on ending the war, including key issues like prisoner exchange and the return of Ukrainian children. Security guarantees were also on the agenda. And meanwhile, US President Donald Trump expressed optimism about upcoming US-Ukrainian talks in Saudi Arabia, stating that a lot of progress is expected to be made this week. The US delegation will also be closely watching for signs that Kyiv is serious about mending ties with the Trump administration. This comes after, remember, a tense meeting last month between Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, which reportedly escalated into an argument.
Looking at a lot of things. We have big meetings coming up, as you know, in Saudi Arabia. That's going to include Russia. It'll be Ukraine. We'll see if we can get something done. I'd like to get something done. A lot of people died this week, as you know, in Ukraine. Not only Ukrainians, but Russians. So I think everybody wants to see it get done. We're going to make a lot of progress, I believe, this week. Let's see what happens with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. I think you're going to have eventually, and maybe not in the distant future, you're going to have some pretty good results coming out of Saudi Arabia this week. Well, I think they will sign the minerals deal, but I want them to want peace. Right now,
how do they show that? How do they show that?
Well, right now they haven't shown it to the extent that they should. I think right now they haven't, but I think they will be, and I think it's going to become evident over the next 2 or 3 days.
Social media platform X faced a series of global outages on Monday, with CEO Elon Musk claiming that disruptions were caused by a massive cyber attack. Musk suggested that either a large coordinated group or even a nation state could be behind the attack. Earlier in the day, thousands of users reportedly said that they were unable to access the platform. According to outage tracking site Down Detector, reports of issues in the US surged to around 26,500 before climbing to a peak of 40,000 users experiencing disruptions while using the platform X. The outages were not just limited to the US. In the UK, more than 10,800 users also reported difficulties in accessing their accounts. Now, with the platform still recovering, concerns are mounting over the scale of the attack and whether more disruptions could follow. And Tesla's market capitalization has taken a massive hit, plunging 45% since its record high of $1.5 trillion on 17th of December. The drop has wiped out most of the gains the stock made after CEO Elon Musk played a key role in financing US President Donald Trump's election victory. But the bigger question remains, are investors still betting on Musk's vision for the future? Remember, despite the steep decline, Tesla continues to command a valuation far higher than the world's biggest automakers and tech giants.
Tesla's stock has dropped by nearly half in 3 months, losing most of the gains it made following the US election last year, when CEO Elon Musk helped fund the victory of President Donald Trump. Despite its market capitalization dropping 45% from December's all-time highs of $1.5 trillion, investors are still debating whether the EV maker remains overpriced. Tesla continues to fetch a valuation far above those of the world's biggest automotive and technology firms. That's because investors are betting on Musk's visions of Tesla's tomorrow rather than its profits today. They've bought Musk's pitch that Tesla's not really a car company at all, but an AI pioneer that will soon unleash a revolution in robotaxis and robots. And Musk's political clout has convinced bullish analysts that Trump will clear regulatory roadblocks for robotaxis. But Musk's promises every year since 2016 for the imminent arrival of driverless cars are yet to be realised. Texas, where Musk promises to launch robotaxis by June, has barred cities from regulating them. Reuters found that Tesla's EV business accounts for almost all of its revenue, but less than a quarter of its stock market value. Tesla's total worth of $145 billion still tops the next 9 most valuable automakers combined, which collectively sold about 44 million cars last year compared to Tesla's 1.8 million. And the widening gap between Tesla's real-world performance and analysts' earning estimates for unborn products has prompted some to warn of irrational optimism. The stock's decline stems from falling vehicle sales and profits, as well as Musk's political activity. Elon Musk! Either in protest against his mass firings of US government workers as a senior Trump advisor, or due to investor worries that politics is distracting Musk from focusing on his money spinner. Still, Tesla's market capitalization remains up about $65 billion since the election, an amount higher than the entire value of General Motors. Tesla and Musk did not respond to requests for comment.
The White House is now pushing back against growing concerns about a potential recession looming large. On Monday, top economist advisor Kevin Hassett dismissed fears that uncertainty around the administration's tariff policies could derail the economy. His comments come as a part of a new survey of American households indicating rising pessimism among consumers about their financial future.
Fears that uncertainty over trade tariffs will trigger a recession gripped the U.S. stock market on Monday. A Reuters poll showed 91% of economists see higher recession risks due to President Donald Trump's shifting trade policies.
They'll be met with the exact same tariff.
But the White House pushed back on talk of a recession on Monday. The director of its National Economic Council, Kevin Hassett, said there were many reasons to be optimistic about the U.S. economy, despite concerns about inflation and predictions of a contraction in GDP in the first quarter. He argued U.S. tax cuts would boost the economy and said Trump's tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China were already bringing manufacturing and jobs back to the U.S. Hassett and other White House officials have also repeatedly bashed the economy inherited from former President Joe Biden. But when Trump took office, GDP growth had largely exceeded trend for 2 years, consumer spending was strong, and unemployment was still near historic lows. Since then, several indicators have pointed to a softening trend, and a monthly survey of U.S. households out on Monday showed that Americans expressed more pessimism about their financial situations. Meanwhile, early economic data suggests the U.S. economy could contract in the first quarter of the year. Hassett called it a very temporary phenomenon. Trump himself declined to predict whether the U.S. could face a recession in a Fox News interview on Sunday. On Monday, economists at Goldman Sachs cut their forecast for U.S. growth this year and raised their forecast for inflation.
U.S. stocks tumbled on Monday as concerns over trade tensions and a potential government shutdown led to recession fears. The sell-off came after President Trump, in a weekend interview, declined to rule out the possibility of a U.S. recession, adding uncertainty to the markets. More details in this report.
U.S. stocks plummeted on Monday, with the Dow dropping nearly 900 points to close 2% lower, the S&P 500 shedding 2.7%, and the Nasdaq nosediving 4%, its biggest daily percentage drop in 2.5 years. Monday's major sell-off followed a weekend interview with President Donald Trump in which he would not rule out the possibility of a U.S. recession. That unnerved investors already anxious about relentless tariff wrangling and other economic concerns, said Mike Muscio, president of FBB Capital Partners.
I think the speed with which the market is reassessing probabilities around recession is directly linked with the two things. One, uncertainty around tariffs and what the impact may have on inflation and just the general economic outlook. And then two, there's a bit of a growth scare that's going on at the same time. If you look at GDP growth in the fourth quarter, which was 2.5% plus, right now GDP now, which is kind of a nowcast existing of what's happening in the economy, that number is like a negative 2.5% right now.
HSBC on Monday downgraded U.S. equities, citing uncertainty around tariffs. Tech stocks were under pressure on Monday as investors unwound yen carry trades, which involve borrowing Japanese yen at a low cost to invest in other currencies and assets offering higher yields. Shares of MicroStrategy and Coinbase dropped more than 16% and 17% respectively, tracking weakness in Bitcoin, which fell below $80,000. And shares of Tesla plunged 15.4%, the stock's largest single-day decline since September of 2020. The stock has given back all its post-election gains after CEO Elon Musk backed Trump and was tapped to lead his government efficiency effort.
And with just 2 days left before the U.S. imposes tariffs on all steel and aluminium imports, concerns are now mounting over escalating tensions between Washington and its trading partners. The EU has warned of a potential retaliatory measure as well, as officials continue to push for negotiations. According to EU's trade chief, Trump administration appears unwilling to engage in talks to prevent a trade conflict with the European Union.
The Trump administration does not seem to be engaging in talks to avoid trade conflict with the European Union. That's according to the EU's trade head Monday. The comments come just 2 days before the US is due to impose tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports. European Trade Commissioner Maros Sefcovic.
I traveled to US last month. I was seeking constructive dialogue to avoid the unnecessary pain of measures and countermeasures. We jointly identified a few areas that would allow us to move forward by fostering mutual benefits. But in the end, as it said, one hand cannot clap. The US administration does not seem to be engaging to make a deal.
He further said the EU was ready for constructive engagement. He added nobody wins from tariffs and that partners with $1.7 trillion of mutual trade should be extremely careful.
We will always protect European businesses, workers and consumers from unjustified tariffs. I think we've been very clear about it and we know that they expect no less from us.
Markets have been rocked by the US imposing numerous tariffs since Trump's return as president earlier this year. The US put 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada last week, and Washington also placed fresh duties on Chinese goods.
Shifting focus now, Mark Carney, Canada's new Prime Minister, met with Justin Trudeau on Monday, assuring a swift transition of power. Carney, a former central banker with no prior political experience, won the landslide victory with 86% of the vote. As he prepares to take office later this week, he faces immediate challenges, including threat of new US tariffs under US President Donald Trump that could impact India's export-driven economy. Listen in to what he had to say.
With respect to President Trump, I'm not yet Prime Minister. His interlocutor is Prime Minister Trudeau, and I look forward to the opportunity. We will. As I said, I just spoke with the Prime Minister at length on issues around the transition. It'll be quick. We'll be coming back to you soon. The good news is that you will be seeing probably more of me than you want, and you will have other opportunities, and we'll be making an announcement on that. Exactly.
What did you tell caucus today?
What did I tell caucus today? So this is important. The first thing, I went to caucus today because you start as you mean to go on. And we are a Liberal team, and so it's incredibly important for me to hear directly from the members of caucus the concerns of Canadians on the ground, their priorities. As I said last night, they're the voices of their communities and they're the conscience of the party. There's tremendous energy in that group. We know this is a crucial time for our country. We're united to serve Canadians, and we will build this country.
And in a bid to turn around its struggling European business, US automaker Ford announced on Monday that it will inject up to $4.76 billion into its German operations. The company said that the financial boost will help recapitalize its business in Germany and support its broader transformation strategy across Europe. Take a look.
Ford will inject up to $4.76 billion into its struggling German operations. Monday's announcement comes as the US carmaker tries to revive its European business. Ford said recapitalizing its German operations will help support business transformation in Europe. It also believes the move will help it to compete with a fresh product portfolio. The auto giant further said it needs to simplify its governance, lower costs and drive efficiencies to build a sustainable business in Europe. The new funding commitment includes a capital injection to address overborrowing at its Ford Werke German arm and provides funding for a multi-year business plan. Ford also called on European policymakers to establish a clear agenda to promote electric vehicles, and it wants them to bring emissions targets in line with consumer demand. Europe's car industry has been forced into plant closures as competition from China has hurt demand. The sector is also bracing for US tariffs. Ford is cutting thousands of jobs in Europe, many of them in Germany, where domestic giant Volkswagen has also struggled and moved to close factories. Both companies have drawn worker protests in response.
Thousands of flights have been cancelled across Germany as a 24-hour strike disrupted travel plans for more than 500,000 people. The walkout, organised by Verdi Union, impacted 13 major airports, including Munich, Berlin, among other cities. The strike comes amid an ongoing dispute over workers' pay, with unions demanding better wages and working conditions throughout Germany. I leave you with this story.
Thousands of flights cancelled and over 500,000 people hit on Monday as German airport workers staged a major 24-hour strike in a dispute about pay. The operator of Frankfurt Airport, Germany's busiest, said no passenger flights would depart from there on Monday, and some delays and cancellations could roll over into Tuesday. Heinrich Nerpfler was a stranded passenger.
We had to leave Switzerland a day early and then spend the night here in Frankfurt. And now we're waiting to check in at another airport. And I think it's a shame that a strike is called at such short notice.
The strike, called by the Verdi Union on Friday, impacts 13 airports across the country, including Munich, Berlin and Düsseldorf. The union escalated action after staging several walkouts last month. Matthias Vernemer is the Verdi Union spokesperson.
The airports are part of the public sector, and we have the collective bargaining round for the public sector with over 2.5 million employees. The colleagues simply want to see an offer for the third round of negotiations in order to strive for better working conditions and higher wages.
Verdi is demanding an 8% wage increase, or at least an increase of $380 more per month. That's as well as higher bonuses and additional time off. Employers have rejected the demands as unaffordable. Negotiations are due to continue later this month.
Close to 600 million out of the 1.4 billion in our country who are under the age of 25, and 65% of our population is under 35.
We all know that if you have a choice of pilot at Air India, and one has read the book, the other one has saw the TikTok movie, and the third one has went through a simulator wins, right?
The employable youth is only increasing. We are one of the youngest nations in terms